Japan's government bans censorship of anime and manga. Hell yeah. Maybe we'll start getting some better anime and manga coming up soon. Because really, recently, a lot of them have been the same to me. And they've just been like over the top Dragon Ball Z, Bleach inspired fighting anime. And that's not all that I want from my top anime, bro. But that's not what this video is about. This is a good thing.
At long last, I can be the bearer of good news instead of...
Woo! I like good news.
Bad news. Like, oh my goodness, man. It's been too long. I'm always delivering bad news after bad news after bad news. But here we go. We actually got something I could talk about.
I've been waiting for this to happen.
About that, we'll bring people a smile. No interference in creative works. Japanese government proposes new policy for...
proposes new policy? It might not get enacted then.
Anime and game expansion in the West. This is huge. This literally just came out today. This is literally breaking news. It was by the Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry proposes new policy guidelines for the Japanese content and anime industries. Very, very good news. So let's just get right into it. Let's just read this article.
Well, you're not allowed to have government entities from outside of Japan start to interfere with video games, because that's 1000% what was going on. A bunch of corporate freaks who were tied into having changes made in the government to censor things and only have like LGBT stuff.
This October, the Japanese Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry held its 8th Entertainment and Creative Industrial Policy Seminar, during which it proposed 5 key principles of its new policy guidelines for the Japanese content industry, including video games, anime, manga, film, and music. As reported by Otaku Soken, the new guidelines have been announced as part of the strategy to achieve the government's goal of expanding the overseas market size for domestic content to 20 trillion yen by 2033.
That's a lot of yen.
This comes only a month after the Japanese Business Federation, Keidan Ren, issued an urgent message calling on the government to provide immediate, large-scale, and long-term support for the country's content industry. The 5 key principles of the entertainment and creative industries policy are listed as follows. Number 1, large-scale, long-term strategic support. Support efforts to spread Japan-made content to the world. No interference in the content of creative work.
That's the important part right there. No interference in the content of created works. So it's got to be actually like a Japanese culture that's getting pushed.
That's the big one.
This is how I think Japan should be taking over the world. Not like they did in World War II.
Provide direct support. Prioritize those willing to take a challenge. In light of recent events, especially aggressive content restrictions and global pressure from payment processor firms...
Fucking right. I was waiting for them to mention payment processors.
The third principle...
I think they're the biggest problem with going in and basically like, oh, if you don't censor the things how we want, then you're not allowed to use our service. And they basically run the money for all of the world.
The policy has been attracting attention in particular. As explained by Meti, the government's goal is to invest in IPs, human resources, and digital technologies, as well as support international distribution networks and overseas investments into building fandoms. Consequently, the third principle was suggested to reassure creators that their freedom of expression...
I love that they're focusing on fandoms rather than trying to get a wider audience, the modern audience.
Will be protected, and that government backings does not imply that the content of their work will be meddled with in any way. Huge W. Like, just straight up huge Japan W. Like, big W right
Yeah,
now.
we'll see about the government meddling. But yeah, W.
Big W for the Japanese government. Big W for anime creators, for manga creators, for artists in general in Japan. This is a huge W for freedom of expression, creativity within Japan. But
yeah, and it's probably going to help with things getting censored that really shouldn't be censored, and they get censored in really weird ways.
Because obviously when government starts to get involved with things, there's always this worry of like, barriers to block you from doing certain things or stop you from being free or doing what you want. And the fact that the government is reassuring creators that you, just because it will be government backed does not mean we will interfere or stop you or meddle with your work is amazing. They legitimately want no interference in the content of creative works, basically to not force anime and manga to censor itself to expand overseas. That is just, this is probably some of the...
Yeah, and probably don't allow others to censor. Hopefully we get a lot more of that.
Best news we could have gotten as of late, especially for just what we have seen continuously. We have definitely seen the uptick of just like this continuous rampant censorship on Japanese content. That's not including other areas around the world, obviously. There's a lot of other stuff I could speak about. But what I'm saying is we have definitely...
And definitely a softening of the Japanese culture. It just, everything's starting to get kind of samey, or it was getting really samey, especially from like Square Enix. They were trying to make games for Western audiences. And bro, you need to make games for Japanese audiences and then expand that.
Seen a lot of Japanese content.
That's the whole reason why we even play Japanese stuff, watch Japanese stuff, is because we want it to be Japanese.
Get censored. And the fact that Japan has obviously been aware of this for years now, it has been an ongoing issue that has been escalating over time, and I think it finally just escalated to a point where it no longer could be ignored. You have Japanese...
Good, like, hopefully we can get this kind of energy in America, because I think we need to get away from the payment processors and stuff.
Officials in the government that were even elected, that one of their core principles and things they fight for is freedom of expression. And I am really happy to see that with the new leadership in charge, because there was recent elections in Japan, you can see that there is definitely some massive changes going on, that there is definitely a fight.
By the way, the prime minister is a metalhead woman. I love that shit.
For creative expression and freedom within Japan, because it's big. I mean, I made a video like 2 days ago talking about how Japanese is like, entertainment industry is like its biggest moneymaker. It's bigger than anything else from Japan. And so it makes sense that Japan would want to expand it even more to make more money as a country, but also to protect it for it doesn't get interfered with or distorted or destroyed by rivaling companies or countries or whatever. They don't...
Yeah, and they need to stick to their original soul. Because that's the reason they got popular, they got so successful in the first place, is because they had their own culture, they had their own soul that people wanted to tap into and check out.
Want to see stuff like that happen. So this is just fantastic news. It's a big freaking W, hands down. There is literally no negatives about this whatsoever. But let's continue reading. Furthermore, Clause 4 of the policy proposal suggests that there will be more transparency behind the support process, meaning less reliance on intermediate companies and more of the support directly reaching those involved in the creation and popularization of content. As for the reasons behind the new policy proposal, METI cites merger results in its previous efforts to expand the overseas market size for domestic produced content. While some of the measures did show results, METI suggests that they were still at a low level compared to other countries like South Korea. The ministry commented they weren't able to expand the stock of tangible/intangible assets and raise labor productivity and wages to a satisfactory level, and are hoping that the new policy helps Japanese produced content conquer the world.
Yes! Yes! I love that. I love the language. We need more of that from other places too, not just Japan. Everybody needs to be basically competing with each other. We need better content in America. That's really what I want.
So,
just better content all around.
More or less from what my understanding is that they are in direct competition right now with like South Korea and even China when it comes to like the animation department and entertainment and stuff that's coming overseas.
And games, oh dude, the games, they're basically at war right now.
And obviously they want to make it to where it's more lucrative for people in Japan to work with Japan instead of work with these other countries and make more business with Japan. That's at least my understanding. Maybe I'm misunderstanding this and I'm stupid. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. But
I love how governments are realizing now that video games are the biggest industry. The absolute giants. And anime is not far behind.
Regardless, overall, Japan is taking a massive step in trying to protect its actual creators, the people that drive its industry. I mean, once again, I want to point out that the entertainment industry in Japan is so massive. It's like one of its big leading moneymakers for its entire country. So it would make sense that there is laws on the ground floor to try to protect their industry. It's common sense. It makes complete sense. It's nothing that seems like, ludicrous or fantasy. It makes sense. And the fact that you have politicians that
and basically everybody around the world was watching stuff from Hollywood. And I think Japan is the new Hollywood. Because, like, maybe Austin, Texas is the new Hollywood for just the United States. But for the world, it's Japan. Because Japan is everywhere. Japanese content is everywhere. And basically is what influenced South Korea and China to make their own Japanese-style content.
Recently got elected, that I've even talked about on this channel about the situation. Obviously, yeah, it makes sense why, them being elected, they would fight for something like this. It's just... Yeah, I'm very happy, man. I'm glad I could share this good news, dude. This makes me so happy to see an article like this. Now, I do want to make sure I state this, though. From my understanding, this law is not passed. It's a policy that has been proposed. I'm assuming it's on the ground floor. I'm assuming it needs to be voted on to some degree. I don't know exactly how the whole policy structure
Hopefully it passes. I think it will pass, though. I think it will.
In Japan works. I'm not going to act like I do. I'm an American. I'm not going to act like I understand all the politics of Japan. That is ignorant of me to do. However, I'm assuming that, judging by the wording and stuff, it is a policy that's been introduced thanks to the new change in hands in the government with the new elections and stuff like that. And now it's going to be getting voted on. And I'm assuming with just how much support has been behind protecting creators and how vocal a lot of these politicians have been in Japan as of late, I'm going to assume it's going to pass. That's my educated guess. I mean, you have one of the biggest people that are leading Japan's economy right now that is a straight up like weeb. Like, I believe there is literally like one of Japan's like ministers. She is a weeb. Like, she loves 2D over 3D. Like, I might show a picture on screen to prove it, but basically, it's very obvious these new politicians that are in control of Japan right now, they love anime, they love manga, they want to protect it.
Or at least they understand what manga is, and they love and understand video games, even if they're not really into all that nonsense. Like, there's a reason that stuff's popular, and you got to keep that energy going. You can't go in there and change it. Especially if you think you're going to make more and more and more money, because you're going to in-shitify it, and then everything's going to keep going up and up and up at first, but then it all crashes overnight. Happens every time, dude.
That's good news. That's good enough for me. I'll leave it at that, though. Thank you so much for watching. May all of you have a fantastic day or night wherever.
Yeah, right on. Love to hear good news, especially about an industry that I love.